Hello and welcome to As Someone Who Doesn't Read Comics, where we are people who don't read comics and to the contrary read and review comics. I'm Becca.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
This week we read Age of Ultron. The story goes, the trailer came out for Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, so I was like, okay, cool, I know that there's a comic called Age of Ultron. It came out like last year or earlier this year. It was like 2013 at the latest. Whatever.
I didn't even look, so I mean, you're more on top of it than I am. Alright, good.
It is a very recent book. And I was like, okay, let's read this, and I wanted to see who I could borrow it from, because I have a lot of friends who do comics. Absolutely nobody owned it. They said it was terrible, and my coworker at the comic book shop almost actually refused to sell me the comic, because they said it was bad and I should not spend money on it. Thankfully we got 10 issues, somewhere along the line we got one. So we got the 10 issues. It was a 10-issue miniseries, so we didn't get the tie-ins, but the 10 issues that initially came out with the label Age of Ultron on them. So that's what we're reading this week. Yeah, so the usual, we'll be going through story, art, and the spoiler section. So yeah, so we're gonna start out with the story. I think Brian wants to take over now.
Yes, I do. This is the loosest story ever. First off, it's a Hawkeye saving Spider-Man, and then you find out that Spider-Man was kidnapped. In that order.
Although it's like kidnapped in a post-apocalyptic, like you can tell everything's broken up. Like it's not just like, oh, Hawkeye saves Spider-Man. Like there's
Hawkeye murdered some dudes.
He did.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Hawkeye. Does he straight up murder people normally? Because
Yeah, those were like neck shots.
yeah, like there was through the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, so then they figure out that the guys who were just random Joes were gonna try and sell Spider-Man to, Ultron, who had apparently taken over and destroyed a bunch of stuff, as per the dialogue, and the destroyed scenery. Then, Hawkeye takes Spider-Man back to everybody else who's still alive, Avenger-wise and superhero-wise, and then they all get mad at him, for, why did you bring him back here? We were safe. Why did you do this? Now they know where we're at. I couldn't leave him out there. And then they decide, well, hey, if they were trying to sell Spider-Man to Ultron, maybe we can sell one of our own to Ultron, and then we can figure out what's going on. That seems like a wonderful idea, right? I mean, it's not as if they'll capture both of us. So then, Luke Cage takes She-Hulk, who, after some deliberation, decide that they want to go. And, they go in and find out something interesting, and She-Hulk gets shot in the head, and Luke Cage gets exploded, and that's about as much as I can give you without any more spoilers.
Yeah. It's set in New York, is the place that we're at right now, so the New York superheroes are here.
Does She-Hulk always have her head shaved, or is that
I don't
new?
think so, but, I mean, I feel
I'm sorry,
like
I say that
makes
for art. I'm
sense.
sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit there.
Well, no, at this point I think we're getting close to art.
Well, I mean, we still have storyline stuff to mention.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean we can't. We still have to talk about it.
Yeah, the story's a little weird. For me, it's boring. But, no, I liked... The one thing that I like about this book overall, the one thing I can point out is some of the quips that everybody says, all the funny, sarcastic comments that a lot of the superheroes make, and Spider-Man, being Spider-Man, makes his comment of they go to a hideout in Central Park, and he goes, Central Park in the fall, my favorite time of year, but, like, everything's destroyed, so it's like, Spider-Man, you and your silly comments.
What would we do without your wit?
I don't know. What would we do in the next 8 issues without Spider-Man's wit?
Oh.
Because he's just there at that
he
point.
doesn't.
Yeah, I
and
was gonna
nobody
say.
does anything because this story picks up and drops characters a lot.
Well, like, cause it begins, and Spider-Man's pretty beat up and doesn't have, like, the top half of his costume on, so, like, he's revealed as Peter Parker, but, like, not that anybody would know who Peter Parker is. But he meets up with all the other superheroes, and he's like, well, I guess this is no, whatever, I'm Peter Parker. Hey, how's it going, guys? But then everybody else is just like, Peter, is that your... Spider-Man, wants to do something right now. They just completely ignore it. They're like, no, you're Spider-Man. Spidey, what you doing? I was like, yeah, that's about... Nobody cares who you are, Peter Parker.
Yeah, I think, at certain points the writers didn't care who he was either. But boom, I kid. Oh, did we mention who wrote and or
Oh,
artist?
yeah, I was gonna say, the
Nope,
writer
skip
in this is, Brian Michael Bendis, who is a bigger name in comics. For not knowing comics, I know the name Brian Michael Bendis, even though it's pronounceable by me, which is a hard one, and, yeah, so, he's apparently popular, although I'm not too fond of his writing so far. So, yeah.
Yeah, if this is any indication, I don't know how you're employed.
No, see, I feel like we're jumping the gun on personal opinions of this.
I also can't blame for, I mean, this is a event that the DC, or Marvel set up, and speaking which is a Marvel book, Marvel set up and said, hey, Ultron does these things, write a story for it now. Like, literally, like, they're just like, write the thing that we tell you to write. So I can't be too mad about judging on a newer event, you know, based on that. Cause I mean, like, Infinity Gauntlet, yes, an event, but it was probably more than most likely the writer or artist coming up and going, yo, I want to do this. Can we do this? And then Marvel going, oh, that's cool. Yeah, sweet, do it. But nowadays it's just like, no, there's an event that was planned like 3 years ago. Now you have to write it. Like, I can't blame him for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how a lot of it's done, the editorial mandate thing now, from at least the websites and things that I...
No.
Yeah. Tumblr yells about it a lot. Tumblr yells about everything, though, so I can't really go by...
I wouldn't be surprised if Tumblr was yelling about us right now.
Oh, that'd be cool. We should... Can we yell about ourselves on Tumblr and then see if other people, like, say, no, they're great? Or is that asking too much, you think?
I don't know. I think we've just offended half of Tumblr, though.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Wait, so did everybody else get introduced in this first half of the book? I think so. Like the other cities and the other groups? No?
Nope. Not until afterwards.
Not until afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, not until after all of this happens and everybody meets up. Because they meet up, Spider-Man and Hawkeye meet up with Captain America and She-Hulk and Luke Cage and Iron Man. And I forget who else is there because they don't matter.
Storm.
Oh, yeah,
Wolverine.
Wolverine's
there.
Invisible Woman.
Valkyrie, I think, is a name there.
Someone who did earthquake powers that for some reason was their first line of defense when in the air, which confused me.
That was another thing. This book constantly, I can't mention anything right now that it did, but constantly this book goes, here's this person, or here's a picture of a person, hope you recognize them, or here's a name, hope you know what they do. And you're like, well, I don't, this stinks. So I had to like look up stuff, and then literally like 3 issues later, they'd be like, this is that person, this is what they do. I'm like, book, you could have told me this, like, seriously, when you introduced these people. So like, there's this group of people, and I'm like, okay, well, Iron Man, I get it, and Captain America, I got this. Like, I got this. And then there's the people in the background, they do stuff sometimes, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Like, literally, probably issue, like, 6 or something, they start in, like, right when the book starts, like, you get, like, the cover, and then, like, the next page, and it's like, future people are Captain America and Nick Fury. So they list everybody, and I'm like, you could have done this forever ago. I had no idea who any of these people were.
And thanks for starting with the people I already know.
Yeah, it's like, like it just started after I didn't care enough and I had to look everything up based on like, oh, they're flying. I guess I'll look up flying blonde-haired people to hope that maybe I find something that works. No, it's just, I'll mention it way after the fact that they even matter because they disappeared now. Like, what? Stop this.
I will add also, do not type in dark-haired earthquake into Google. The results are not pretty. But, yeah, I think one other thing in the story is, while that main group is off doing things we'll discuss later on specifically, but trying to formulate a way to get in contact with Ultron, you've got Moon Knight and Black Widow, who kind of had like their own little side thing going on, surviving in this whole post-Ultron world, which really they were only there to introduce that Nick Fury was gonna, he had these secret bunkers around, and they were living in one for a while. Which,
Which I guess kind of made sense because Black Widow was really close. Mm-hmm. There was another one where Moon Knight, he pops up and he doesn't have a mask, or at least a full mask.
Yeah. Which he doesn't have his costume on, he doesn't have nothing on.
No, he pops up for the first 10 seconds and has the moon and it disappears, and I don't know where that piece of clothing goes.
Here,
and then
pop
I, like,
quiz. What are Moon Knight's powers?
I have no idea.
He has a ship that looks like a moon,
He had a shotgun.
and he had a
He
hood.
had a sniper rifle.
Gun.
Is that a power?
Answer, I really don't know either.
gun?
It didn't tell me.
Is his power gun? Because according to the video games I played, it's gun and spaceship. That's
That is it.
obsession with the lunar system. I don't know. That's about.
But so that was about it. But yeah, no, Black Widow had some weird stuff going on with her other eye, and I was like,
yeah.
well, that's fun. We're not going to mention how that happened.
Nope,
Cool.
not at all.
Sounds great.
I mean, I guess it's just to show that not everyone got out alive, but I got that when you mentioned that not everybody got out alive.
Some of them were dead,
So-
like the Hulk, which was awesome.
Yeah, I was like, hmm.
No, that stinks.
Yeah, he would have been useful.
Well, She-Hulk wasn't useful.
Oh, see, alright, I'm gonna mention it for the second time. It bothered me she did not have long hair. Is that a new thing? Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, the world's dying around you, and you have to. I mean, no offense. I would cut your hair off because it's just going to get in the way. Also, she's tall as crud because Luke Cage is big, but then Luke Cage knocks her out to sell her to Ultron, and he's carrying her like over his shoulder, and her fingers almost reach the ground still. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're a tall woman. Like, wow, how did you fit in that bunker? Like, oh my gosh, I was so. Like,
Becca, you can't ask women that. That's not good.
she was.
I
liked She-Hulk. She was cool.
Yeah, I liked her.
Comic.
Yeah.
I also, I didn't know who Luke Cage was, and then I looked him up and I knew who Luke Cage was, because he's apparently an older Marvel character, but Luke Cage is just apparently invincible until he's not invincible and he dies. So, yep. That's what I got from him. I have no idea. I think he's Power Man, his name, but I think they gave that up and just called him Luke Cage from then on, because it was like, nah, you need a secret identity ever. So, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, wise choice. I don't. Power Man's not.
No. Well, I mean, he was way back in the
Right,
he was one of the
I'd
original
rather be possibly mistaken for Johnny Cage than Power Man.
Just the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
I'm like, punch him in the nuts. Wait, wrong character.
Yeah. It's like Liu Kang, Johnny Cage with the names.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
what I said.
See, that would have been much better.
I like, yeah, because the superheroes are talking in New York, and they're like, oh, we have to get out of the city and see if it's just New York, because, obviously New York explodes every other day. So, they were like, we have to make sure that Ultron didn't just take over New York, and he's taking over more than this, and, they're arguing about it. So, like, you get the feeling that they don't know what's going on with the rest of the world, but then that's where, like, Black Widow and, like, all these other, like, groups of some superheroes come together. It was cool. I thought it was cool that, particular cities stuck together. And that there was what was it? Spider-Man said there was like 10,000 superheroes in New York. Like, how many people, like, what's the ratio of regular to superhero people in New York City? Like, that is a large ratio.
I mean, I don't. Are we taking his numbers at face value? I thought
I have no idea.
I mean,
there was still a lot of superheroes in that
yeah.
bunker in general.
No, I know. It felt like Ultron was doing a really poor job.
Yeah, I don't like.
I mean, unless the number was true and there was like 10,000 superheroes.
Oh, in which
then
case it was down to less
did
than a
really
yeah. Good percentage there.
Also, dude, everybody's beat up and everybody's costumes kind of ripped and everything, and Captain America's like, he's got like one arm ripped off and everything, but somehow kept the wings on the side of his cap, which was impressive. Like, I was like, you think those are the first things to go, but nope. They're fine. Perfectly fine. Pristine. Still white. Yep.
America.
Yeah. Those were my comments on any storyline related things.
Yeah.
Although I guess that's art, but whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of which, let's do art.
okay. Yeah, I guess
feel like
we've
that's
already
the
kind
thing
of
we should
Yeah.
jump in
Already
there.
kind of slipped
we've just
into
kind of
it. But...
slid into it.
This is probably the best part of the book.
Art was nice.
Yeah, no, the art was really good. I liked it a lot.
Especially like all the big cityscape shots and stuff like that. So detailed.
I thought there was a lot of 2-page like thing. I didn't like it that much though, which is weird. But there was so many big scenes, and not only big scenes that took up 2 pages, but just general, like, let me have a bunch of small boxes, but it's also gonna take up 2 pages. Like, it was like, some of them were weird to read. I was like, I can't follow this on, like, I kinda get where it's going, but it took me a second to figure out where I was going. I don't know, that was just me.
Yeah, no, the 2-page, wow, big picture thing is really cool the first 100 times they do it.
They do it a lot.
It's overused. It is easily, well, in case anybody hasn't figured it out, this book doesn't do anything right.
Well, see,
But it's just overuse. And there's a lot of those overarching cityscape shots. Granted, I'd like any of them framed and put up on my wall. They're gorgeous.
it's a lot of detail. Yeah.
But I don't need 300 cityscape shots with confusing text boxes.
Yeah, there was a few times where I was just like, hold on, I need to stop reading and figure out where I'm going real quick before I have to go this way. Like, it's kind of, for me, it just takes me out of the story. Now, speaking of which, the main artist to start was Brian Hitch, but then actually, like, halfway through, it switched to Brandon Peterson, just to mention, so the art did change. It changed minutely, like, I didn't think it was a huge change, it actually just, I noticed it, but it took me a second to pick up on it. It was like, oh, okay, oh. So, yeah, both were good. It was great art, I liked it. But, yeah, some of it just didn't make up for the boring story.
It almost felt like it lost some detail in the second half. Almost.
I really didn't pay attention.
It might have just
much.
been a different, setting set, but it seemed like the colors got slightly brighter.
Well,
and
yeah,
the
but
details got slightly less so.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot less ominous.
I was gonna say,
hiding
because
shadows at certain points.
Kind of a spoiler,
Yeah.
but the first half was oh well, there's apocalypse, and then the second half was that's not an apocalypse. So like, there is a difference. There's a difference in two. So like, bright and colorful. Yes, well, it's not an apocalypse, so it's bright and colorful, and not death and doom and dark. So
no Doom though.
no.
Now that you mention,
no Doctor Doom.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's really forcing that joke. I'm sorry.
I just wanted him to show up and be like, "No, I'm leading this team."
yeah. Just,
Who needs Nick Fury?
I got this. We got this. We're all good. Doctor Doom. Go back to what is the country that he rules? He rules some country.
I forget.
I don't know.
I keep wanting to say Latveria, but that's.
I'd like to see a map of like the Marvel universe, because I feel like there's countries and cities that are made up in the Marvel universe, but somehow exist in the Marvel. So there's like the United States is filled with like 20 times more cities than it is in the real world, because Marvel universe just has 20 million more cities than we do. I don't know. It's just me.
I'm just trying to think of it, but I keep coming up with like Latvia, which I think is a real place.
It might be.
Is Dr. Doom in charge of Latvia?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they'd be more prosperous.
I'm tangenting really hardcore here. Art. So yes. What was I going to say here? She-Hulk. Looked pretty cool.
Yeah, She-Hulk I liked. I liked her short hair, but she does normally have, I think, at least what I've seen of the new comics, she has long hair, but...
when I was a kid, I had this board game book. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys know this, like this big, like, opened up, it's like 2 feet book that opens up, and it has like a little thing, and She-Hulk was one of the characters on it, and I had no idea who she was. I thought she was related to the string bean person.
Jolly Green Giant.
Yes! Yes, so I thought that in some way I knew who the Hulk was, but I had no idea who she was at first until...
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not like... She's just a taller female, slightly more muscular. Like, she's not like the Hulk is like huge and abnormally not human shaped, but kind of like he's weird.
Yeah, no, it bears much more similarity to the Jolly Green Giant.
Who's just a very tall green person.
So that's the only reason why I keep bringing and harping on this, because I don't know. That I guess the long story short is the art's great, except for I don't like the stylistic choice to cut her hair, because I'm really shallow with this book for some reason.
Yep.
I liked everything. The cityscapes were good. I mean, the big scenes were good. It was just, there was a lot of them. And there was a lot of detail and a lot of small stuff in the cities and, broken stuff, which is cool. I liked it a lot. It's good art.
Good art. Good art.
All right. I think that'll bring us to the spoiler section.
Oh, wait, no, I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
No.
I have one more thing to say.
It's a good thing we announced.
Stopped.
Yeah, it's a good thing we announced these transitions.
Yeah, I know, right? The front cover of this book and the front cover of the first issue is Ultron, or at least one of Ultron's, like, duty thingy-majiggies. Like one of his robot butler, like the little army guys.
Robot butlers.
Robot butlers. One of his army guys, and he's beating people up, and you see Hawkeye in the reflection of him. That scene never happens, first off. And then secondly, that thing where you're looking at the robot and you see the reflection, but I think it's the reflection of Luke Cage. I forget who it is, but that scene happens again, which, I don't know, it just threw me off. I'm like, why would this scene not happen at all? Like, everybody dying, cause like, Captain America and, Iron Man don't die at the same time as Hulk. So I was like, this is weird. And then why, it threw me off. I don't know, maybe it was just me. Like, it's a cool cover. I liked the cover. It was just weird that they took that again and redid that same scene, but not that at all. I don't know. It just really, it threw me off. I didn't like it. Yeah.
It kind of seemed like it was like, hey, this robot's metal. Hey, we can use it as a reflection. Hey, we can use it as a reflection. Hey, we can use it as a again, the overuse thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was just once, but it was just like, I don't know, I think I'd do that again, but whatever. I don't know.
Twice can be overuse.
Maybe it was just me. It literally caught my eye and I was like, no. So yeah. Okay, we can go to spoiler.
Alright. Spoilers?
Spoilers.
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 We keep saying it at the same time.
Darn it.
We both waited too.
Spoilers.
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 Bumbles bounce.
Yay.
I think I broke Paul with that.
Because I thought you were just saying words for filling the spoilers section. Okay, now we're officially, okay.
No, that's a really big spoiler.
But say it again, because I was talking over it. I was still going to say, you said Bubbles bounce. Spoilers.
I said Bumbles bounce. At the end of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Although the whole story could have gone on without that thing happening.
No, it couldn't have. How else would they have gotten the star on top of the Christmas tree?
I don't know. They have freaking 10 million flying reindeer. Why don't you just have them fly up to the top of the stupid
because
tree?
Because you don't fly airplanes inside. The same reason you don't fly reindeer inside. Gas prices.
I have no idea. I was left out of whatever this was.
What?
Okay, well, okay. Okay.
Thanks, Rankin and Bass.
So
yeah.
So, spoilers. Ultron.
The
Ultron fights the Bumble.
You never see Ultron, except for when you see a flashback of Ultron, but you never see, cause Luke Cage and She-Hulk go in, and it's Vision, who, yet again, this was one of the things where it was like, Vision, who's that? I don't know, so I looked it up, and then not 10 issues, cause it's 10 issues. 3 issues later, Tony Stark's like, oh, Vision, that guy that Ultron made, he's biomechanical, and let me explain everything you need to know about him. I'm like, I could have used this, 3 issues ago. What? So I was kind of mad about it, but
he's married to Scarlet Witch.
Dude!
That happened? Where's she?
That's the thing.
I assume she's gone.
She probability manipulates, right? That's her power. I thought that was a really weird power. What's her thing? She manipulates probability. That's kind of cool. But she's married to a robot cyborg man thing?
That's the probability of that.
I don't...
Thanks for taking the low road on that one.
So I don't know much. Yeah,
as a matter of fact,
thing.
You know what should have happened? She should have survived, because there was a pretty low probability of that one. Right, but she didn't.
Well, that's what I don't know.
There's still a decent amount of people who died, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
There's still a decent amount of heroes. Also, what's the probability that a robot from the future sends back another robot, maybe from the future, who knows, and has him control and take over with robots that are very similar to the robot from the... this story makes no sense.
0. Well, should we quickly run through the rest of it?
Oh, yeah, it would probably be a good idea.
Yeah,
Alright, we yelled about... Okay, well, actually, we ranted on the spot we left off, which was basically that Luke Cage brings She-Hulk in to be like, we're gonna sell you to, I'm here to sell She-Hulk to Ultron. Oh no, you're not Ultron, you're Vision. Who is
apparently a good guy.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like Sinestro, which really threw me off. Because that's the only, person that I'm like, you're a good guy. Wait, hold on, how's this going? And then he was built by Ultron, which then confused me even more, but whatever.
Yeah, no red flags on that one when you let him in the team? No red flags?
Well, long story, after that happens, the place explodes, Luke Cage is very injured, and the rest of the Avengers decide to go up to Antarctica because apparently there's a paradise there. And they get there, and Tony Stark is like, Vision, we didn't see this happening? He was made by Ultron. He married one of us and became one of the main Avengers. Why didn't we see this happen? Like, he literally just went on a rant, like, this was stupid. Why the crud did we do this? Like, I was like, yes, Tony Stark. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't do this. Thanks, Tony Stark.
I mean,
you ruined everything.
I actually wrote down one sentence from it that I feel like sums up everything like so well. Was after they find out that Ultron is controlling or manipulating things from the future through Vision, he wrote, alright, so there's a dialogue here. He's punishing us from the future. He's using Vision as a conduit. Vision? Our Vision? Damn it, that explains a lot. I'm like, what? Does it really? Is that, we're just readily accepting that in 2 sentences? Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I think so.
I mean, I don't know anything about Vision except for he's in this comic and there's half of him in this comic because he was broken in half, which was very confusing because he's biomechanical, so he has bio parts. So I was like, that's a spine. You shouldn't be living. But I assume possibly that he's a decent
Ultron had the
android
foresight
guy,
not to
man.
break him below the spine.
I don't know. I guess. I don't.
Ultron knows everything except not to make a biomechanical man that turns against him. I don't know. That's whatever.
I don't know. Hindsight from the future must have to be 2020.
Ouch. Yeah, how would that saying...
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know.
So...
I'm gonna vouch for Vision. He looks like a cool guy. I'm just saying. He apparently did some big stuff and saved a lot of people, so whatever. He married a lady. I can't imagine Probability Lady would just be like, whatever, I'm gonna marry a robot. Like, I assume maybe he has emotions. Who knows?
What are the odds? I don't need to use my powers. What are the odds that this biomechanical monstrosity would actually turn on us? Okay. Sorry. I'm really playing. I hope that's her power now that I've mentioned that a lot and we've been making a lot of wisecracks. I don't know a lot about her.
No.
Let's assume and go from there.
Yeah.
She's dressed in red.
Yes.
And she's possibly a witch. That is my knowledge of her.
There you go. That would do it.
Which is more than Moon Knight tells me, because I have no idea what that does.
It means guns and spaceship, obviously. That's what he is. Like most knights.
But like we were saying, like New York was the big hub center for those Avengers, but apparently 3 people live. I think it was Chicago. But
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I think it was Chicago, and it was Red Hulk, Black Panther, and Taskmaster, that guy, the dude. So I don't know what they were doing. I guess they were getting an Ultron bot thing majig. I don't know what they were gonna do with it because the whole place was blowing up, but whatever. So Red Hulk goes out and the dialogue is hilarious at that second because Taskmaster's like, okay, you're gonna go get him, Dave? And Red Hulk's like, my name's not Dave. He's like, well, I'm not calling you Red Hulk, Dave. Taskmaster. That was, I want to read more about Taskmaster now just because that.
Yeah, he seems funny.
Yeah, we should.
For a guy with a skull for a face and a name like someone that would work you to death, he seems like a pretty chill guy. I don't know.
But yeah, so, long story short, Red Hulk gets a bot, but Taskmaster and Black Panther die, I guess. Yeah. Something like that. And then Red Hulk also goes to Antarctica, Paradise Land. There's a forest with pterodactyls in the middle of Antarctica. Who knows? I have no idea why. And apparently Luke Cage, like, drove himself in a plane, like, they didn't...
Like the Ultron bots didn't shoot that
Why
down.
also? Well, they didn't shoot him down. The Avengers didn't decide to take a plane. They just flew on their own.
Yeah,
like,
they flew and were invisible the entire time because
Hey.
like, we can't do this. We can't let anybody see us. And then Luke Cage just flies up and it's like, hey, sup guys? Red Hulk like just walked or something like that.
Well, I mean, he's Red Hulk. He could have jumped.
Yeah, he was jumping pretty far.
Done a jump and probably made it on Antarctica. But also, like, they could have just taken the plane and had What's-Her-Face make it invisible. How is that so hard? Harder than making everybody in the group invisible. Like, what? Yes. Why didn't they take a plane? There was apparently working planes. Why?
Yeah.
Whatever.
This post-apocalyptic future had a lot of amenities that you could take advantage of still.
Yeah, and then they get there, and they get to this paradise place.
And there's a ruler of the paradise place. I have no idea. He's apparently preset person, but he's a guy, and he does things. I think his name was, like, Kanar or something. I forget.
I think we might be being caveman racist. I don't know.
No, he
Is
was
he a
something.
caveman?
I forget.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. He's there for 3 lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, stay here. Okay.
And then they get there and they meet up with Nick Fury, who's like, sup guys, what took you so long? Oh, I don't know, Nick. Perhaps the robot apocalypse.
Also, the fact that you never wrote down anything or told us
that this
anything
existed.
about any of these bunkers. Also, so Black Widow and Moon Knight, I guess, are in Nick Fury's, I don't know where they are at.
Some hideout that he
Hideout
had, yeah.
somewhere else. I forget what city they were in, because they were on their own. But they're in that city, and I love because they have this, like, tack board. He has, like, a tack board of, like, photos. But I find it weird that, like, Captain America's up there, but it's Rogers. But then, like some people are names, and some people are their ego. I have no idea. I don't know what any of that meant. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like, you have those coworkers, you got your inner circle you call by their names, and then you got those, like, some nicknames, like, oh man, here comes, Klepto, I don't know, I give him nicknames.
Here comes that guy who walks down the hallway on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, like,
Probability
oh man,
lady.
roadblock. What a probability lady. Keep those. I don't, yeah.
Oh, here's that lady from accounting who's just gonna not turn in my paperwork right.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but I know she screws stuff up.
Right? Exactly.
I hope you're listening, lady who screws up my accounting paperwork.
Whoa. Okay, this is not a personal soapbox. Step down. But Squirrel Girl picture though. Squirrel Girl was on that board. I like Squirrel Girl. I don't know much about her except her name rhymes, and they rhymed it with squirrel. So, I mean, kudos on that one.
That's another one we have to read a picture.
Yeah, I would love.
I hope she survives because she's gonna need to be Galactus.
Well,
is that a thing that happens?
Well, we did an Infinity Gauntlet 24-hour reset thing.
Oh, so she probably is.
Everybody's alive,
including Atlantic City.
You assume, because spoiler at the end, time and space-time continuum breaks and nobody's affected except for
jumped.
Breaking glass thing, whatever. But so yeah, they
meet up with Nick Fury. He's got a time machine.
Dr. Doom's time machine.
Yes. He goes, let's go into the future. We can go beat Ultron up there. Although he probably has to exist in the current time. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, how does time travel work with that?
Well, I mean,
can you just put yourself in
the future? How do you
future?
disappear to the future?
Can you put yourself there?
Yeah, that's weird. Is there an Ultron in this timeline?
They would have, well...
No, that's what Vision's
but
for.
I mean,
where did he go?
I guess he
did
went
he
to the
jump
future.
Well, he couldn't have just jumped to the future.
I think we just need to go back to the future.
Did he exist? Did he exist to the future? They go back with the
Because I was going to say, because they go to the future and it's all like robot-y, futuristic-y, so I assumed he'd been there for a while. I mean, maybe he jumped from... I mean, he may have jumped, but maybe not to that exact moment. I don't know.
Well, ow.
I don't know.
So much, I don't know.
But then, after they...
I guess we could probably mention time travel comes into play.
So Nick Fury brings a select amount of people. So he brings like Cap, Iron Man.
Even though he could probably have just, put everybody there.
I don't know
that
why.
That helped. I don't know.
Whatever.
But then he's like, Wolverine, Susan Storm, you guys are also coming. And Wolverine goes, no, I'm not fucking coming. I'm gonna get on the time machine and I'm gonna go back to the past and I'm gonna kill Hank Pym. Because that seems like the most logical thing to do. Because Hank Pym made...
They were planning at first
Ultron,
to talk to him, and then it was like, we're gonna tell him not to do something. Iron Man, if I told you not to do something, would you not do that thing? And he was like, no, I wouldn't. I would do that thing.
I would definitely, that would become my top priority, would be to do that thing.
Which was I loved Iron Man's, no, I would do this thing. I was like, thank you, Iron Man.
you could tell me it would destroy humanity, and it would nag me that I'd have to do it, but I'd put a failsafe in there that I could do it, but then the failsafe wouldn't work, and then we'd be exactly where we are.
Yay!
And so that's why then Wolverine's like, well, fine, whatever, you guys try your plan, and when it fails, I'll go and rub. And so then they go off into the future, and then the moment they're gone, Wolverine's like, okay guys, I'm gonna go back in the past and kill Hank Pym, see you guys later.
And he's like, considering they took all of the strong Avengers that could probably stop me, and all of you are Hawkeye, and Moon Knight is back there, and you don't even have a gun, like,
adamantium
not
bones.
stopping me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take this time platform. So, he goes back in time to do the thing, but Susan Storm, Invisible Woman, turned invisible
and followed him.
And
said, I knew you weren't going to behave.
And so they go back and they go to stop Hank Pym, but...
Oh, they see Nick Fury, because obviously you time travel to where you are, I guess, which I guess makes sense.
Like that.
And it's still Nick Fury's safety cave or whatever. So Nick Fury from the past, who is awesome, and has an awesome flying car.
I want one of those, though.
I know, it was so freaking cool. He comes and then they hijack his car.
Am I the only person who made Back to the Future noises when I saw that car?
Yes.
No, I made like Jetson noises.
I made Harry Potter noises.
So we all had.
So many flying cars.
Alright.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Wolverine goes and they fights
They
Hank.
take a sweet ride.
Yeah, sweet ride to New York, and they're like, Wolverine goes in, fights Hank Pym.
Because a flying car doesn't disrupt the timeline at all, or whatever.
No,
you know?
I guess
So,
not. Well, I mean, it was already in that timeline, so I guess not, but... but then anyway, Invisible Woman goes in and stops him like, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, but then ends up being convinced by Wolverine to let him,
this.
to do the thing that she was there to stop him from doing.
Hold on, before we go any further, did anybody not think that Nick Fury might remember getting carjacked in the middle of nowhere? You'd think he would have seen Wolverine going back in time to steal his car.
I mean, I guess. Look, when you're messing with the
Well,
timeline...
This is Back to the Future logic where he changed the timeline so it's a variant timeline. This is what I'm saying. Because otherwise, then the timeline would broke it. It's the stuff with the things. What happens?
Time travel.
Yep.
Anyway.
Best explanation of time travel is still Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's all I'm going to say.
Which, speaking of which, happens. That
Basically.
happens.
Yeah, that's.
We'll get to that, but let's keep going.
Yeah. All right. So, long story short, Wolverine kills the dude.
Hold on, because Pym is working on a Dragon Man thing, who's also an artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah,
who
what
is
was
the
that?
coolest thing ever?
I forgot about him.
He looks like a freaking gargoyle from the TV show. Like, he's cool. I want to know more about him and why he was defeated and dead on Pym's desk. Oh, also, Pym is Ant-Man, so he grows and shrinks. That just BT dubs.
Yeah, I knew.
You know who he is.
I thought he was Ant-Man, but then he got giant, and I'm like,
Also superhuman, super genius who creates Ultron. I don't know if we mentioned that, which is an important part of why they're going back to kill him.
oh, I think did we? Oh,
No,
I
I
think we
did.
did.
I said that.
Oh, okay, good.
good.
All right.
Just making sure. We decided to kill a random person. Sounds good.
Wolverine just got fed up with this, went back, stabbed a guy.
All right, well, you guys go to the future. I'm gonna go stab my bookie.
Yeah, pretty much in the past because I couldn't do that now. Anyway, so murders, and I was like, okay, well, there you go, problem solved. Let's go hop dibbly doo back into the flying car, and we'll go back to the present. Everything should be fixed.
When did they describe they described Ultron. I was about to say Voltron. Ultron and Vision. They had Vision at one point. It was Tony Stark, Pym, and
On their way to Antarctica, they're walking to.
yeah, because they're walking in Antarctica, and that's when they explained who Vision is, because they're like fixing Vision, because like whatever. But I love that the fact that there was another Starky moment where it was like because Ultron has caused damage by now, and they're like, oh, if only I could remake, go back in time and tell myself not to make Ultron. And then, like, I think it was Tony Stark, and he goes, well, at that point, you'd have to go back and kill Hitler, and really you should just slap the apple out of Eve's hands. This is time travel. And I was just like, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Tony Stark. That is exactly the problem with time travel.
But then they go in time travel. So, like, I mean...
What bothers me is that it's Dr. Doom's time machine, and he didn't do that!
Yeah, also, I love how,
I feel like he would have done that.
Wolverine's like, Fantastic Susan Stark, don't you do this all the time? Like, doesn't the Fantastic Four go back time, like, all the time? Like, isn't this your thing? She's like, oh yeah, we do.
She's like, well, not all the time. On occasion.
Sometimes we fight in the present.
Once in the future. Cause what is time but a construct? Anyway, so, they go back, to their new present that they've created. They go back into New York, only things are wrong bizarrely because they killed Pym, all the things that he'd done as Ant-Man to help didn't happen. So like Tony Stark is now like a cyborg Starkborg thing, and there's there's the Defenders as opposed to the Avengers, which includes
essentially the Skrull invasion, which is the Skrulls who are
some aliens from
weird aliens.
Well,
is sort of successful.
Well, it's if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, the Skrulls are the people. Skrulls and I forget what the other name of the other aliens are the war that was going on. I think the Skrulls were the
Kree?
Yes, Skrull
yes.
Kree. Yes.
That was what was going on in Guardians of the Galaxy, like the war that happened and everybody was going to kill people. That was like that war that happened out in the universe and not at Earth, and the point was like Pym stopped them from getting to Earth, and then it got to Earth, hence why Star-Lord is part of the Defenders, because he has nowhere else to go, I guess, now? I don't know. So, literally, yeah, everything kind of gets messed up. So it was kind of cool seeing other events that happened and things that connect
into
a
way.
future.
Yeah, and randomly Charles Xavier and Emma Frost were there, who I'm like, oh, X-Men people. There you go.
That was kind of cool.
Fun.
I
Yeah.
like that.
So the Defenders think that Wolverine and Susan Storm are either Skrull or something. There's some sort of
Wolverine is part of, but Wolverine's been time traveling, so I don't know how. It was very confusing as to why Wolverine was still there. Time travel confusing.
Which exactly explains why I think that Ultron has to exist in the present too.
So confused. Like, how does Wolverine exist?
I mean,
How do two Wolverines exist if he went back in time and changed the... I don't know.
I took it as he removed himself from the time. He didn't go back in time because there was no need for him to go back in time. Therefore, he didn't leave the timeline and stayed in the timeline naturally, just with the changes that the previous him had made.
This rant brought to you by time travel.
Yeah, only possible by time. But no,
I'm
okay.
just saying, like, Back to the Future, Marty McFly goes back in the future, and they assume he's the son that has existed for that. So there's not two Marty McFlys at that point. There's just him, but
Yeah.
he just has different memories. And that was why I was like, this is weird. Wolverine's here. How did he happen? But whatever. I don't. It was it threw me off.
Yeah, I don't. It was that version of time. It's with time travel, you never know exactly what you're getting into until you're into it, and then it's like, oh, I guess that's a thing. But yeah, okay. So Tony Stark from the Defenders, who's like Starkborg, is having this whole big thing. He's basically like in charge of the world now. I don't know. Like
I assume it's the whole world, and the Skrull are still a big deal because everybody was talking about like, you could be disguised aliens. So that happened.
Yeah.
I love the Defender team also, speaking of which has Colonel America, who is like somehow Nick Fury and Captain America became the same person. I don't know how that I don't know if this is Steve Rogers or if this is Nick Fury, but Nick Fury became serumed. What happened? I have no idea. It was so confusing, but it was awesome all at the same time because it was a blonde with an eye patch, which is, how can you be angry about that?
I can't.
Yeah, you're right.
This is just, it was so cool. And then like Thing had like dents. He had like bullet hole dents. It was really weird.
Yeah.
It was also awesome. I mean, it added to his rockness, I guess. You know, like whatever. I can't remember who else was in that team. Star-Lord was in it only because yet again he popped up as a person. I had no idea who he was, and then later on, the next issue, it said, "Hey, look, this guy's Star-Lord," and I was like, "Oh, thanks."
I was concerned.
I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, I didn't know, but oh yeah, and that's where Tony Stark is interrogating them. They're like, "How are you possibly? What are you? This makes no sense. Why are you? You are obviously some sort of villainous scoundrels. Are you working for someone?" And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in some rip in the fabric of reality, you got Morgana. Yeah, I wrote Morgan, but they had an A at the end. Morgana Le Fay with a bunch of on the back of a dragon with a flying army of ram head people. Just starts attacking.
Awesome.
It was epic as all get out. I like that 2-page spread. And then it just starts wrecking stuff to the point where basically the flying battleship helicarrier thing.
Kind of like Avengers, where they had like the base was the helicarrier.
Yeah.
I really
Except
don't know why
multiples.
they keep making these things.
They seem very fragile.
Why? How often do you have dragon things?
Alright, touche. Or even if you're going with the Avengers movie, even someone with an arrow. Like, drat, we should have probably been
protected against that.
Our one weakness. Antiquated technology.
Explosions.
Oh, explosion. That's funny.
Before that too, I keep interrupting like minutes after this thing happened in the book, and Paul's explaining it, but I feel bad.
That's okay.
But Xavier and Emma Frost can take memories from people and then put them on a computer file? Like, that's what Tony Stark did. I don't know how it happened, but that is an awesome power. Like, how did that... He put all of the memories onto a computer that Tony Stark then, I assume being half cyborg man, looked at and computated in his brain all at once.
And went, well, crap, they came from the future and then screwed up the timeline and created this.
Yeah, like, he looked at
That
it and
can't
was
be
like,
real.
oh.
They have to be aliens.
Yeah, I love...
He was saying, like, they were so synced, because I assume, like, events that happened with the both of them at the same time happened and things that...
They would remember
like,
it the same way,
Yeah. But I was still like, that's a thing they can
really
Xavier
cool.
do that?
I don't know. I mean, I knew both of them are thanks to the X-Men movies, I know they're both powerful psychics and telepaths, but I'm like, can they put it onto, where's the software? Is
onto disk?
Yeah, I feel like there should be
floppy drive.
I just imagine
there needs
like
a third
Xavier and Emma Frost like syncing up their psychic powers, and then there's like a floppy drive in the background going writing all the data.
I mean, I guess. I guess Tony Stark's like half cyborg, so I guess they could have just shot it into his brain and then he. I don't know. I guess. I think that would be the most reasonable way. But it was just like, that's a cool power.
He said he was going to take a long time for him to read it, though. Like,
yeah,
go through,
I have no idea.
Okay, whatever. So but they were there, and that was interesting.
It was cool. It was cool.
Doctor Strange was on the Defenders.
Oh yeah,
because he just all of a sudden they kept putting subtitles of different spells, like they were like citations from books.
It confused me because that's normally the place where the location goes. Like it's like New York City, this year, whatever.
Fireball spell.
But it was it started doing spells, and I was like, oh okay.
There was like a book of Woola Woola or something, and I kept using that one. And I'm like, that's a funny word. That's funny. I should have written it down so I could check and make sure that's what it was called.
Wolverine threw something at him in the middle of a spell. He was just like, nope.
And then it wrote down spell broken.
Yeah,
that was good.
As if we didn't know that broke his concentration.
Well, funny.
Yeah, but
I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah. So long story short, with all this going on,
only Wolverine will throw a chair at Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay. Well, considering Disney doesn't own X-Men.
Yeah, so they can't.
You can't. Nope.
Drat.
Yeah.
Please, anyway, Disney, if you're listening, somebody throw a chair at Benedict Cumberbatch.
In fact, most of the story can't happen because the two main characters are not owned by Disney.
Yeah. That's true.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
Also, Ultron appears, apparently, in the trailer for longer than he appeared in this book, so I would assume that it's a different storyline completely.
Yeah, I have to imagine that's the case. But
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
A good thing is terrible.
I mean, I like that they're not dealing with time travel.
Or are they?
Oh, God, what if they do? Oh, no!
Maybe they go into the future, and then go back into the past, and then into the present.
I don't even know. Okay, I'm
lost.
So the attack happens, and Tony Stark basically tells Wolverine that he's an idiot, and he's like, "Why did you go back in time and do that? You broke the timeline. You're an idiot." Wolverine's like, "Well, it's what I was doing."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why didn't you just tell him to do this?" And Wolverine's like, "Well, I guess that was a smart move. I should have done it." And then Iron Man specifically says, you can't just travel back in time, you're tearing up time. Like, literally, even if you go back and try to fix yourself, you're tearing up the timeline and you're still gonna mess things up. And then Wolverine goes back in time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, great.
But no, this is one of the things I really liked about was this part of the story where it was, and this is where you now have two Wolverines in one timeline. You had to now
or only 3 if you count the one that's just not there at that point in time.
Well,
not at Pim's office.
I know you have...
I'm not there yet.
Okay, sorry.
No, wait, I am there?
Yeah,
I am there.
Because they're both at Pim's office, but technically there's a Wolverine who's just running around in 50s New York, driving around in a fancy car like Nick Fury, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay, but I was talking... Okay, so there's the Defenders...
Okay. Whoa, making noises.
Yeah, that's going to be something. Okay. Oh, shoot, I forget exactly where this all fit in. But basically, it comes to the point where... Alright, yeah, so then Wolverine goes back in time. You got two of them. This time, Wolverine stops... Well, first he knocks out Sue Storm so that Sue Storm doesn't interrupt him from before and letting him kill him before. And then basically, he has this big debate with himself in front of Pym, who just sits there monologuing about how fascinating it is and is trying to ask them questions for science.
I love that. He's just like, I have no idea what's going on. That sounds interesting. Maybe it's a good idea. I don't know. He's great.
Are you the same what are you guys doing? Have you guys met before? Is this a thing that happens regularly? It's like, shut up! We almost murdered you. We're talking here. And so they have this whole big thing and they agree, okay, listen, this is what you gotta do, Pym. You have to live, but you gotta do all the things you were going to do, but you need to write a code into your AI so that there's a way to shut it down at the right time.
But also forget it, like, somehow?
Yeah.
So he had to forget, so he had to write basically a backdoor destroy Ultron code,
.exe.
but name it porn, so that Ultron didn't go into the folder, and rewrite it when he evolved himself. And then when things happened that were bad, go back and open that folder and destroy Ultron, which was weird, but yeah, and then forget that he did that at all and continue making Ultron, and it is weird.
But
I feel like Wolverine did not explain this well enough for Pym to have done all of that, but he did it anyway. So it's a good thing Pym's a genius.
Yeah, I was gonna say I liked that idea though, and we're getting to the point where I'll start defending this soon. But anyway,
Yeah, this part has the Bill and Ted syndrome.
Well, yeah.
Dude, you should totally not do that. This is a bad idea. But what? I was gonna do it, and it would do great things, wouldn't it? If I killed Hank Pym, we're done, right? No, I came from the future. You killed Hank Pym. It was awful. And I was waiting for another Wolverine. No, you gotta stop him. He's gotta kill Hank Pym. This has to happen. And then another Wolverine. And all of them in different outfits for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, because the other
Well,
Wolverine went to Nick Fury's cave and was like, I guess I better pick up a different outfit, even though my outfit's okay. Like, why did he change?
as an audience member, it made it easier to tell them
Yeah.
apart, and I appreciated it. I'm very glad.
It's so, you could have done something in the future.
Yeah,
like, you could have, like, I don't know,
I was
had
waiting for like
hats, like,
cyborg
ripped his...
Wolverine. Hey guys, I came from the really, really, really far away future. This is an awful idea. I have to come here
No,
and
he
I have
just-
to kill all of you.
He's just
so
a
that-
cyborg, and he's just like, I came from the future. I get some really kick-ass cyborg arms. Look at this shit. Like, okay, see you later, guys.
Adamantium makes a great electrical conduit.
But all right, so then basically, we've
So
jumped all over the place.
They tell
but-
Pym to do things. Pym's like, okay, I will do the things.
And then-
I trust you, random men who ran into my room, and I have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
Then they go back to Nick's cave. Which
Oh, but this is the cool part.
Wolverine hid Nick's car because Wolverine was like, Nick Fury's not going to check anywhere within 10 miles of his cave because why not? So I'll just hide it in the brush. Nobody would find it. Like, why would Nick Fury not look for that car? Like, this is so.
I bet
that is
Nick
such a
Fury has like
Probably
on
had
star.
another one.
I was waiting for like OnStar. Nick Fury is looking for his car.
Like, literally, they're in the 50s, and they're like, well, we'll just put the car here, and then when we go in the future, it'll still be here, because Nick Fury won't look for it. It's only 10 inches from the cave. Look, I only pushed it, like, 2 feet. Like, I'm like, why? You covered it in branches. You think Nick Fury
He said he
could
parked.
do this?
He said he parked it like a mile away.
Still a mile.
I mean, then again, if he took his only transportation,
only-
he's going to walk
Like,
at
the
least a
only
mile.
metal thing in that jungle.
Okay.
Except the dinosaur. Although, no, the dinosaur is
dinosaur-
not metal.
dinosaur was
I
real.
just really wanted to mention the dinosaur.
That dinosaur is going to eat some folk. I don't know, that paradise is not quite a paradise when there's dinosaurs going to eat your face.
You know?
Maybe
Which-
that's where the plot of Jurassic Park 3 comes in. I mean, maybe that's why Chris Pratt is there.
No, 4.
Or 4, yes, that's right, 4, sorry.
And I actually am looking forward to that, because I feel like...
Star-Lord
it's
is going to lead the Raptors.
Well-
to salvation. Why would you not watch that? Why would you not watch Star-Lord lead the Raptors to salvation? With...
Oh, off topic.
Yeah, I'm
But no,
sorry.
I like Susan Storm's, because Wolverine was like, I'll just kill it, which I guess would be awesome as well, but Susan Storm was like, no, I'll just close its mouth. And I was like, oh, okay, see you later, Susan Storm, thanks.
Yeah. Although,
Thanks,
here's...
I really wanted Wolverine to fight that dinosaur. It would have been great. But no, you had to ruin it.
I will say, side note, she's like Invisible Woman, but she does force fieldy stuff too. I don't see how the two powers are related.
I don't know.
That's always bothered me. But also, I'm gonna be honest, while the invisibility thing is cool, that force field thing I think
Yeah.
might be better.
That dinosaur took it very well, speaking of which as well. He was just like, well, I guess my mouth wasn't open. See you later, guys.
I'm gonna go back over here where it did open. maybe this will fix it. But yeah, so there's this really, alright. So Wolverine, and Susan Storm are there, and they're like, well, it's time to go back, to where we belong. But, we have 2 Wolverines now. This isn't good. So, the Wolverines sat there, and they actually had to, to prevent a time paradox, one of them had to die. So, it was interesting that the Wolverine...
Why did the Wolverine that came from the newest Wolverine, who came to the future and knew everything, was the one who died?
Yeah.
Why did they kill him? He knew things.
Exactly, because he knew things and he didn't want to
guess.
live with it.
He knew too much.
That was
he,
stupid.
yeah, because he knew what had happened, and if he went back in time, the whole timeline would still be altered more. So they
Why
needed
couldn't
the guy.
everybody just gone back where they were?
Well, because they couldn't. Basically, that's what they're doing, though.
Yeah.
Is that the Wolverine that went back only remembers going to the past to kill Hank Pym, and then going back again. Whereas the other Wolverine had gone into the future.
I think it took less time to actually read the book than it has to discuss it.
I'm just
Why? It's time travel. Why didn't he go back to, like, right before he time traveled the first time to get Pym? Or maybe, like, before he even got in and sliced Pym? Or why didn't they do any of these things?
because then you have to go back and kill Hitler and then knock the apple out of Eve's hand. They established this. It's been previously established that obviously you cannot time travel for personal gain.
It was ridiculous.
Uh,
Whatever.
But yeah, so
So
At that
Wolverine's dead. One of the Wolverines is dead.
Yep. And then they go back in time, and then it just plays out a bunch of different events, which I assume might have been actual comic events. I don't know.
I assumed because it looked like the first time that Ultron popped up, which was I forget what the group was named. It was a group of villains, and they were named like the Intelligence or something.
Intelligentsia. They were Spanish.
Yeah, something like that. And they were doing something, attacking something. I think they had Spider-Woman. So they get those people, free. I guess they were starting up Ultron, because then Ultron like starts up and is existent.
Yeah, they thought that it was alien technology, but it was actually Ultron.
Yeah, which Ultron, like the story behind him is Pym made him and made him an AI that could improve himself, so he improves himself to the point of not liking humanity. Like, woo, yay. So so he starts up and everybody's trying to fight him, but he can't. They're losing, basically. And then Pym comes in over, like, Tony Stark's, like, intercom and is like, no, hold on a sec, you're gonna have to distract him a bit, but I have a thing to get in and destroy him. And Tony Stark's like, well, that's weird, but he's like, no, I can do this. So he opens the folder and destroys Ultron, basically, is like how that works.
Yeah. Shuts him down.
Yeah, it was some weird,
and then Ultron's like, ha! You think that you can get in through the porn folder? Well, I can just delete it. Wait, no! You put a thing in there! You knew I'd delete the porn folder! No! There goes all my porn! I'm dead!
I will say, the backdoor way that they did it was kind of cool in that it was the only reason...
It was like the program to stop the Trojan horse that he put in started the virus or something?
Yeah.
Like that,
so his antivirus program... was actually shutting him down and multiplying worse than what that he was blocking and kind of block. I'm like, oh, that's
it was
cool.
an interesting.
Here's a simple virus that he's going to have to counteract this way. Well, when he counteracts it this way, it'll kill him.
But it was like Pym didn't know, so like he sent. Susan Storm bought him a video
of himself
telling his younger self from like the 50s how to do the thing with the virus and the stuff, and then he was like, I can do this, and he did it.
Yeah.
So it was weird, but yeah.
Yeah, and so then that all happened. I was like, huh, well, I think we've won. Whoa! Interdimensional, time-shattering, everyone has flashes of different universes, and it turns out they basically say, okay, look, I'm not sure what happened here. Someone was obviously messing with time, and we've really been pushing this close because time almost fell apart.
Somebody, like they stare at Wolverine, somebody had to travel in time multiple times.
And none of us can remember who exactly, but we assume it's you.
We know there's two of you. But...
You only killed the other Wolverine in Nick Fury's bunker, so there's a dead body sitting there, and Nick Fury's trying to figure this out.
We thought you were dead!
The adamantium skeleton that probably doesn't rust away. Yeah, that's a flaw.
Kind of a dead giveaway.
That's a dead giveaway. But yeah, so... And then it basically... The comic basically ends with stuff kind of changed a little bit with time fixing itself and trying to reaccommodate everything. We really shouldn't be messing in time anymore. Then it has this...
They're kind of like it's broken already, though, so that sucks.
Yeah, so it's like we're gonna have to live with it as it is. Well, let's not go back and try and fix it. Then it has a random flash to, like, the Ultimate Universe, where,
the Ultimate Spider-Man
Spider-Man, where,
who
like...
is, Miles Morales.
Yes, that's his name, Miles Morales. Goes and all of a sudden Galactus shows up there,
which is hilarious because he's just like, yeah, man, I beat like one robber today. This is great. I'm doing good. And then this giant man who eats planets pops out in the sky, and he's like, well, this stinks.
Yeah, and then it ends with
Angela.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it more Angel-y.
I have no idea.
I just basically said Angela.
She seems like a god person.
Yeah, but what's with the giant... Is that a giant severed head?
Did
she cut off that head? I had questions about that art.
I don't know.
And then also it ends with, there's a quick, look at, Tony Stark and Hank Pym are sitting there, or Hank? I forget. Pym.
Yeah.
Is sitting there, and they're like, Pym's like, I don't know how I went wrong, Ultron, that really stinks. Good thing that happened. Then he's like, wait, I know what I can do. And he, like, that, it cuts. It's like, nope.
It's like, you idiot, stop making killer artificial intelligence.
Yeah, stop. Except it's Tony Stark, and he's like, well, I guess if somebody told me not to do it, I'd do it. Tell me not to do something, Pym. Like, I don't know.
Don't make a better Ultron.
Pym is a great last name, though. It's fun to say, Pym, what you doing?
Pym.
It's very short. Pym.
So the book ended kind of, like, because, like I said before, we got the 10 issues. Apparently, a lot of the story is almost lost in other, because they did tie-ins to other comics. So some of the storyline is lost to us in other comics that we didn't get.
Yeah, the goal from Marvel was, hey, if you want to actually know what's happening in these 10 issues, you're going to buy these 30 books that you don't follow on a weekly basis.
I think there was like another 10 comics that were like tied in. It was like, that you lied.
Yeah, it's the actual Age of Ultron story. It went on for 10 weeks, and almost every Marvel comic over those 10 weeks was involving the Ultron story. And they had a lot of comics.
Well, DC's just as guilty of it.
Yeah.
Court of Owls was doing the same.
Yeah, I know.
But at least that was only all the other Batman characters.
Also, it was a Court of Owls. I could follow it all the way to the end. It didn't seem like anything was missing.
Except
and then
for
the extra stuff was just, oh man, that explosion happened that Batman did. That's affecting me right now. Which is cool, because it's like, okay, these things are happening, which is what you'd expect for a tie-in. Is not to have vitals to the storyline, but have just like, oh man, time travel's happening. Why is things changing? What is this? Like, it would be cool to just see shots of like what, like the comics, like the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man. I want to see what happens to Miles Morales and Galactus. Like, what's going on? So, like that stuff's cool, but whatever. So, I don't know if you pick up like volume 1 of Age of Ultron, if it has some of the more important tie-ins, but we just got issues 1 through 10, and it's not helpful. Don't buy them. Don't do it.
Don't buy them anyway.
I mean, it's bad, so I don't like it. It's boring. I didn't like it. It was boring for me.
I don't know. I guess my thing is with it is it's a crisis type event. It's gonna, as soon as it starts off with, okay, so guys, listen, half the people you know and love are dead. I'm like, well, this is going to get undone by the end. So that in and of itself, just,
Yeah.
that's taken that right out of the thing. And then they threw in time travel, which also I really should have hated. But I feel like there's some really good ideas in there that people don't talk about with this. Where like, the whole thing is, DC, they were like, okay, we've done this for a long time, we're just going to reboot everything. New 52, we're done. I don't know what they did after this. But this storyline would have been a great way to pick and choose what you wanted to keep of your own canon without
to
rebooting.
Restart, basically.
It would have been a great restarting point. I don't know what they've done since then, but it was a really natural way where they're like, okay, not only have we now pick and choose what we want to keep, like maybe, I don't know, maybe that really racist character we created in the 40s, maybe let's not have him anymore. I don't know. I don't have any character in mind when I say that, but just
a new name. Like,
right? You could switch that up a little bit, or adding new people.
Shazam.
Don't even get me started on that. But, or adding, like, Angela. I don't know anything about her, but you could have added, like, a ton of new people and just had it be a natural, you don't have to explain too much about why they weren't there before, because now they're here.
Oh yeah, guys, don't you remember, like 60 years ago, all that stuff happened.
You could totally...
Did? Yeah, no, it's a timeline shift.
You could totally get away. Obviously, you'd hopefully handle it better than that, but that kind of thing. You could totally do that. It would have worked out great. It's a way to reboot rewrite without rebooting, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool thing that it gets overshadowed. I mean, Ultron not being in it sucks. Like, I don't understand what that whole, that whole thing, I can't defend. But I liked the idea that they could bring new people in, change things around, but still move forward from there without scrapping everything like DC did, which they then end up not scrapping much at all, but rewriting, just changing to change. Whatever.
The time travel, I think the time travel kind of killed it for me, which was kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It just kind of, and throughout it was pretty boring for me. That was I mean, the art was good, and the art looked great. But yeah, a lot of the writing to it just kind of disinterested me, and meh. That was all I got. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The writing is awful. The story as a whole, if you explain it, is awful. However, the actual act of talking about this book is enough to say that it's more enjoyable than everyone gives it credit for.
Yes.
Because there's so many things in this, like, ranting about this. This was probably one of the most enjoyable podcasts that I've sat through that we've done, and having to banter back and forth and yell about this stuff. This is enjoyable to rag on this. It's almost so bad that it's good. in that effect. This is the I'm blanking on the name, like a Rocky Horror Picture Show-esque thing for comic books. That this is so bad that there are some really, really campy, enjoyable things in it that I like to make fun of.
Not that
I feel like I should be
bad.
throwing flour and spoons at the comic book as I read it.
No,
I think you're taking it
You're
too
taking
far.
it way too far. It's not that. No.
Yeah, no, there's
See,
really
and I
not
think-
much redeemable.
No, see, here's the thing. Again, we mentioned initially Brian Michael Bendis. We were like, we heard of him. You were saying it wasn't a good. The writing is fine. Like, there's some dialogue in there I really like. There's some good descriptions.
The
It's not.
overarching story.
I think it's the
is just
story, and if it was a mandated
a
story,
little
that would make a
boring.
lot.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense if it's an editorial mandate story. That there's only so much you can do. But I liked a lot of the pieces. I liked a lot of the pieces of this book. I
don't
don't
know.
like the whole.
I feel like Ultron could have shown up, and that was somebody's decision that
Again,
he didn't show up.
right,
That
but
I do not
who's-
think that Marvel said, "Hey, I want you to write an Ultron story. He's nowhere to be found." I don't think that anyone had said, "I want you to write a story about a character who's not in it."
I mean, he shows up technically, but not the right time. I don't know.
Right time, I get it. But no, but see, here's another thing though. If you think about it, it's an interesting. See, I like. There's so many things about this that I like. I understand why some people don't like. I understand why you guys might not like it, but I don't dislike this book because the idea when they keep talking about Ultron at the beginning is that he was programmed to get smarter and smarter and smarter, and that he would eventually become too powerful. This is what would happen if he got too powerful. That as a concept, I really like. I don't like that. I mean, I like that they made that this is the day that everything goes to hell. This is the day that Ultron wins. Cool. But have him beat people up. The time being in the future thing really didn't impact anything. You could have streamlined and focused more on the world around it if you just had him, like, you could still use Vision as some proxy or whatever.
You could have just been like, oh, traveling. You could have just been like, well, Vision's the way that he conduits into this time. If we just defeat Vision, maybe if we just bomb New York, most everybody's dead. Vision would be done. He's biomechanical. Get rid of the bio parts. We'd probably have that bomb. Nick Fury had like a crud ton of stuff in his basement
An
thing.
EMP.
Literally.
Anybody?
Yeah. Or something, like, I'm fairly certain there's gotta be stuff that is the bio equivalent of an EMP where it just takes out bio stuff. And it would have destroyed most of
I think it's
him.
called fire.
Yeah, I know.
Or a bomb.
Or a bomb.
There's a lot.
There's so many things.
A gun.
Literally, Vision couldn't do anything.
Moon Knight! Moon Knight could have won the entire thing with his gun. Sorry.
Done.
Continue. I'm
That
sorry.
was-
We tried
that was-
to.
Yeah, like,
Or why did
Brian's
Luke
still doing
Cage
it, but-
bring a thing when he went to go hand off She-Hulk to Ultron? He could have been strapped to a bomb. They could have done
Oh
something.
yeah, let's discuss. I will say the two most indestructible characters short
Let's just
died
walk
pretty
them
early.
in the front door with no armaments whatsoever.
well, they wanted them to survive up to the point of
They didn't need no
getting the
armaments.
detail,
But
no,
how are you going to get the details if they're both dead?
Very true. Well, that was, like, get up there, get the information, and be indestructible enough to hopefully get back. But She-Hulk got shot once, and that was it. Done.
Yeah, through the ear.
I also, like, what happened? What's the storyline where nobody goes to Antarctica and finds Nick Fury? Does he just sit in the bunker forever and go like, this
Guess I
sucks.
gotta do this myself. Nick Fury. Let me take this Captain America shield, this old Iron Man suit. Dude, yeah, I want
Yes.
this.
I want that comic
He
now.
has so many things in there.
Nick Fury, American hero.
I think he said something about what he was going to do if they didn't come in.
He
another
said,
week.
like, if you guys weren't here in the next, 5 minutes, I was leaving.
Yeah, like, no, too late. Yeah, I don't know. Yet again, it's an event, so I can't blame fully on the writer, but it's still,
I can.
it's still pretty bad.
When you have
Like,
these,
it wasn't terrible, like, it was like sometimes I'll sit through, like, a kid's cartoon and I'll be like, wow, this is bad. Like, this is terrible. But, like, there's some things that I sit through and it's like, I can watch this. It's not my cup of tea and I don't like it, and it's not really great written, but I can at least sit through it and read it and not die. But it was bad, I didn't like it, but I could still read it. It was readable.
Yeah, no, it's no PB&J Otter.
that is a terrible show.
We're not Gullah Gullah Island bad, but
Whoa. No, now you've crossed the line. You leave Binya Binya Pollywog alone, sir.
Like, yeah, like, people make a cult out of Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's bad. It's not, but it's still watchable. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah.
it's not the worst. No 5-year-old didn't write this and then some artist went on and was like, and Wolverine got the super Mega Buster and, like, it's not.
That would have been a better story than this.
In another
Wolverine,
way,
get the Mega Buster.
I'm still gonna say, like...
And then go fight the dragon in Eureka's castle.
No, is that a bash against Eureka's Castle, or are we pro-Eureka's Castle?
No,
because
pro Eureka's
okay,
castle.
good.
I just thought I'd tie it back to kids' cartoons.
I understand. That's why I was waiting to see what you were doing with it. I've agreed with one of your... Okay. Anyway. For me, this is a case of the parts of this story are better than the whole. I feel like...
I definitely don't like the end. That was...
Yeah, the ending was not great. I love the ideas that, like, if they had ended it, like, 5 to 10 pages sooner, I would have really liked it. Because I think it's great. Because it's a comic book world that it could have redone everything. I already went through that. But it got time travel out of the way. It's like, well, hey, you're a comic book. Don't you have a giant time machine, Dr. Doom? Why are you still losing? Well, they wrote time travel out in a natural way. End it there. I would have been like, okay, there you go. But I feel like that's a good part. The stuff in the future, the writing was okay. I'd like to see more of it because there was some good banter. The Red Hulk Dave bit, Taskmaster was funny. There's
there were some good funny lines. I will give you that.
It's just the story. Maybe it wasn't put together the way that it. I don't know. So like, if you were to tell me the story bare bones, just Ultron attacks from the future. Some people go in the future. Wolverine goes in the past. He defeats somebody. Goes in the future again. It's bad. He goes back into the past. Tells himself not to do that. The world breaks. Like, I'd be like, wow, that sounds like a horrific story. I didn't even follow what you were saying. Like, you switched times like 5 or 6 times.
Like, wow, that was bad. But like, reading it, there was some fun moments and some cool stuff that popped up that at least kind of redeemed it to the point of I was able to read the story without like being like, nope.
Yeah, moral of the story, it's not great, but it's not as bad as I was led to believe.
Definitely on the bottom of the list of stuff we've read is where I put it. Out of everything we've read, I put it at the bottom. Yeah. Like rating everything.
I'm putting it slightly higher than you. Miss Marvel is still awful.
Oh my God, you did. I can't understand. You are the worst.
This was bad. Somehow
you are the worst.
I put Brian lower on my list than Age of Ultron. Brian, Age of Ultron. I can't really rate everything else because it's pretty good.
I put Brian above Age of Ultron, but I put him below Miss Marvel just to spite him. That I like Miss Marvel more. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a lot. It's not the most exciting. Like, at least Infinity Gauntlet, you knew the reset was coming at the end because it was a crisis event. But it was more exciting until then that kind of I don't know, that lost me at the end too.
This is a bad Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put this. This is the Infinity Gauntlet bad.
As a first-time reader, too, there was a lot, like, Infinity Gauntlet, I felt like I could ride through it without knowing much.
Yeah.
This one, there was a couple of times where I was like, I really want to know more, what are you? Like, Vision really annoyed me, and I was like, what are you? Why are you there? And who are you? And it didn't explain it to me until later, so I had to go look it up.
Yeah.
Which kind of stinks and drags me out, which, I mean, obviously, yes, I jumped into an event with all of the Marvel characters without a ton of Marvel knowledge, but going by as someone who doesn't read comics, I would not recommend it to somebody who doesn't read comics and wants to just jump into Marvel Universe. Also, if you want to read it because you're like, oh, the movie's coming out, it probably has nothing to do with the movie, so you should probably ask somebody else about an Ultron book that's good.
Yeah, no, go read Infinity Gauntlet and be prepared for the third movie.
Yeah,
or Civil War, which is coming out, which is also apparently a good story.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah.
I guess we should make it closer to that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, yeah, I mean...
Next Captain America. Just weird. I don't know, whatever.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Sounds patriotic.
Yeah. So,
that could work.
So
Okay.
read those instead. Or ask. Apparently there's a what if Ultron, which is good. I don't know. Or apparently there might be a storyline where Ultron first gets revealed that I didn't read. Read those.
Yeah, Ultron could have been an interesting villain. I mean, I like the idea. But I mean...
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know how old Ultron is himself, because it sounds like an old idea. where it's an AI that outsmarts the beginning programming and then
Sounds 80s.
and then goes against the humans that made it, which it sounds incredibly like a taboo like a thing that's already been done. Not taboo, but a thing that's been done.
Okay, guys, I know what we can do. We can go into the computer world, but we'll get captured by this master control program.
Silly. But like, it sounds like something has been done, but I don't know how old Ultron is to say it's been done before, or Ultron is the one who did it, like, the first one, so it's hard to say, but no. He seems like he could be used interestingly. Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm reading Paul's notes because I didn't make notes, and he wrote about a pirate, and I remember this because when like the space-time continuum shatters, like you see all like the alternate versions of everybody. So like Miles Morales and Spider-Man are alternate versions of each other. There was like a Spider-Man pirate.
Oh, it was the Thing. It was
the Thing.
The Thing was
pirate.
a pirate, but like all right, but it's like and they're showing everyone going through and they're like having visions, like the worlds are almost collapsing on themselves. So you have like there's Iron Man holding his head, and you see like flashes of different Iron Man incarnations around him. But for the Thing, they randomly first off chose the Thing to focus on, but also Pirate Thing. Like Pirate Thing was the center picture that everything else was around.
Like I assume there's different universes with different things, but Thing is pretty the same, so I can assume that when he was slightly different and a pirate for some odd reason, they were like, well, I guess we better put this. I don't know why they chose the Thing, because literally, like, they were like, oh man, we have to make him for the different for the future, so he doesn't look like the same thing. Dense. Good. Done. That's it. He's different. Like, it's, I guess you can't make him different. Like, where Iron Man, you change up the suit, like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't know why they chose Thing. And I don't know why he has a pirate incarnate.
Yeah, dude, this just gave me hope that somewhere across some timeline,
The Thing is a pirate.
No, obviously I was a pirate.
Oh.
But like a high-ranking pirate, not one of those like, I'd be very disappointed if my alternate timeline me was
if
like,
I was swabbing the poop.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, pirate me, what are you doing? Get your life together. You're living the dream. No, I never wanted to.
I guess we'll have to go to the comic book shop and ask the guys and see if they know where Pirate Thing comes from and see if we can read that comic.
I will wholeheartedly go buy that comic if that exists. I want to read the Pirate Thing.
Pirate Thing, yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Susan Storm could make their pirate ship invisible. The Human Torch would just light the pirate ships on fire.
I feel like the Thing as a pirate would be bad, because he weighs a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, you gotta have a big boat to carry that guy around.
Must be a very rich pirate
Well,
thing.
the good thing, Mr. Fantastic, is the boat.
Oh, he could be.
That would be tiring, though. I wouldn't want to be a boat the whole time. I'd be like, fuck you guys. I'll be in my own boat.
It's okay, he's not gonna do anything useful anyway.
He didn't show up really much at all.
Nope, no, he didn't.
I'm fairly
because
sure
he died.
died.
Yeah, well, no, I
died in the future. Again, because he died in every single timeline.
Because he, like the Hulk, is a great threat in the fact that, as far as I know, he is like the smartest man ever, so he probably would have foreseen like any of this happening. Like Wolverine saying, we should kill him. No, we're not. We're gonna take everybody strong and go to the future and leave Wolverine alone with the time machine. He would have been like, no, don't do that.
Guys, whoa.
He was dead at the beginning of this, and then when they go into the alternate timeline where the Skrull invasion happens, he's dead there too. It's literally as if they went, nobody cares about Mr. Fantastic, and then the Human Torch, not even mentioned. Like, he's at least mentioned that he's dead.
I mean, there's a lot of...
Well, Susan Storm says her family's dead, and they're related, I think, right? Like, his name's Johnny Storm, right?
I think, yeah, they're brother and sister?
Are they related?
Something like that. Yeah, but like...
The only Fantastic Four I know is two terrible movies that came out, and whatchamacallit, and I didn't even watch the second movie, so I don't know. I don't know
and
how
third
good...
evil, awful one that we're getting soon?
Maybe?
Know.
Oh, that's a reboot. I can have hopes for a reboot, I say sarcastically. Oh dear.
Yep. So,
okay, this has gotten...
Yeah,
All
this has gone long.
I think we should final thoughts
We've been all over
coast
the
this
place.
one.
Yep.
All right.
Final thoughts. I found it boring. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst. But if you're gonna pick up a comic, I'd pick up something more enjoyable than this. Really, is my rating on that.
Yeah, like I said, I know towards the end I ran it a lot. There's a lot of good parts to this. Like I guess I'm coming out more in defense of this book than most people. I like a lot of the ideas that are in it. I think it has some, like the writing's good, the story's not good, and I think that's the differentiation I took away from it. But I still can't. Like, I can't overly recommend it. Like, if you put all the comics that we've read so far and said, "What do you recommend to people?" This would not be at the top of my list of recommendations for people. So, yeah, no, I'd probably say give this one a pass.
Yeah, no. I think this is the first all-around pass. Nobody's going to enjoy this book in the sense that there's nothing really meaty here. There's nothing really like, I need this as a story. What you are going to enjoy is being able to rant about it with your friends and people in comic shops and having the educated knowledge of, that was an awful book. So if you want that and you want to be able to rant with people and yell at people and have the knowledge of what an awful book is, this is probably a good book to pick up for that. Otherwise, don't read this. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I still don't go that far. I still think there's some redeeming qualities to this that I liked.
To the point that there's more books that are much better than this.
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
you
point.
can better utilize your time.
Again, even when we're all agreeing, I'm still siding with Becca more than you. No offense. no offense, but
None taken. We have to have some dissent, even in consistency.
Even in consent. Ooh. Not a fan of how I worded that. Anyway.
No, not at all.
I definitely agree that, yeah.
And if you'd like to hear more of Paul's intense musings, you can find us using the series of tubes at our Facebook page as someone who doesn't read comics. You can shoot us a message on our Twitter at I don't read comics. Or you can find us and shoot us a message. Let us know what we're doing. Let us know what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. Let us know if you enjoyed Age of Ultron so that we can stop responding to your emails at idon'treadcomics@gmail.com.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
And as always, the book was better. Except maybe not this time.